The crowd in the luxury ballroom went silent. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above as soft music faded into awkward quiet. Every eye turned toward the girl standing near the center of the marble floor, her voice trembling but fierce. "Please," she whispered, clutching the sleeve of the tall man beside her, her eyes glistening with tears. "Act like you love me, please." The man, Leonard Kane, one of the most powerful CEOs in the city, looked down at her. His jaw tightened. Cameras flashed. Her ex-fiancé stood just a few feet away, smirking beside a woman draped in diamonds. For a moment, time froze. No one understood why the richest man in the room would even look at a girl like her, a girl in a faded dress with trembling hands and pain that seemed to fill the air. Leonard reached out, gently pulling her closer, his deep voice calm but commanding. "I don't have to act," he said softly, so only she could hear. "Let's give them a show they'll never forget." And when he kissed her right there in front of everyone, the room gasped. Cameras clicked. Her ex's smirk disappeared. But beneath that kiss wasn't just revenge or pity, it was the start of something neither of them had planned. Maya had never felt smaller than she did that night. Once, she had dreamed of marrying her ex, Jason. They had built castles in the sky, made promises under city lights. But when her father's small business collapsed and debt collectors came knocking, Jason vanished. Within months, he was engaged to Claire, daughter of a real estate tycoon. Maya was left with nothing but broken dreams and a heart she tried too hard to fix. She had worked 2 jobs, waitressing by day, cleaning offices by night, just to pay rent for a tiny apartment that smelled of dust and rain. But tonight, fate had dragged her into a world she didn't belong in. She had come to the event only because her friend worked as a caterer and begged her to fill in for a sick staff member. And then she saw him, Jason, in a tuxedo, standing proudly beside his new fiancée. He had looked at her like she was invisible. Until Claire laughed, a laugh that sliced like glass, and said loudly, "Oh, Jason, isn't that your ex? I heard she's working as a maid now. Cute, isn't it?" The humiliation burned. Maya's throat closed. People turned to stare, whispering. That's when she bumped into Leonard Kane, the man whose company owned half the city. She had spilled a glass of champagne on his black suit. Her hands shook as she tried to apologize, tears blurring her vision. But Leonard had looked at her, really looked. Something in her eyes must have caught him. Because when Jason sneered, "She's always been clumsy," Leonard's voice cut through the air like steel. "She's with me." Maya froze. Jason laughed. "With you? The Leonard Kane?" And in that moment, trembling and desperate not to be humiliated again, she whispered those words that changed everything. "Please, act like you love me." After that night, everything spiraled faster than Maya could control. The photos from the gala went viral. Who was Leonard Kane's mysterious girlfriend? The headlines asked. Leonard didn't deny it. In fact, the next morning, his assistant delivered a message to her tiny apartment. "Be ready by 8 a.m. We have a role to play." Maya didn't understand his motives. Maybe he wanted to silence rumors. Maybe he wanted to protect her pride. But when she met him again, he didn't look like a man playing a game. He looked like someone who saw through every wall she'd built. He gave her new clothes, a new role, and a deal. "Pretend to be my girlfriend for 1 month. Attend events with me. Smile for the cameras. After that, you'll get enough money to start your own business." Maya hesitated. She didn't want charity. But he looked at her quietly and said, "This isn't charity, Maya. You're helping me, too." She didn't understand what he meant until she started to see the loneliness behind his eyes. The world called him powerful, but he lived in a mansion that echoed with silence. His parents had died young, his relationships were all strategic, and everyone around him wanted something. Except her. And as days passed, fake hand-holding turned to real warmth, and rehearsed smiles turned into quiet laughter in his car after late meetings. He would look at her sometimes like he wanted to say something but never did. She would find herself wishing the deal never had to end. But secrets have a way of catching up. Jason, furious that Maya's life had suddenly turned glamorous, started spreading rumors that she had sold herself to Leonard for money. The tabloids twisted every photo. When Maya saw the headlines, "Gold Digger or Lover?" she couldn't stop the tears. She tried to pull away, to protect Leonard's image. But Leonard wasn't about to let her disappear quietly. He found her standing on the rooftop of her apartment, her hair flying in the wind, tears streaking down her cheeks. "Why are you crying over lies?" he asked softly. "Because they're about you," she whispered. "I don't want to ruin your life." He stepped closer, his voice trembling for the first time. "Maya, you didn't ruin anything. You made me feel alive again." Weeks later, Jason tried to humiliate her one last time at a public charity gala. He cornered her, sneering, "Still pretending, Maya? When this game ends, he'll drop you like nothing." But Leonard was right there, his hand firm around hers. "This isn't pretending anymore," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. "She's not my fake girlfriend. She's the woman I love." The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. But Maya didn't care anymore. Tears filled her eyes, not from fear, but from relief. For the first time in her life, she didn't have to beg to be loved. Leonard kissed her again, this time not as an act, not for revenge, not for show, but because love had quietly bloomed in the cracks of two broken hearts that never meant to meet. And somewhere deep inside, Maya realized, maybe life had taken everything from her once so it could give her something real this time. Because sometimes love doesn't arrive with roses or promises. Sometimes, it begins with a desperate whisper. "Act like you love me, please." And ends with a voice that finally says, "I already do."